Hello there, and welcome to Pink Milk, your Star Wars podcast for us superfans and those normally forced to listen. However, today is someday, and someday we're talking with another superfan. That's right, we're speaking with Jason from the Blast Points podcast. Get ready, it's time to drink up. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to Pink Milk. I'm your host, Bryan. Normally, my husband, Tom, is with me, but he is still MIA. Well, not really MI, because I know where he is, but he's just not here. He will be here soon, probably April. Keep sending love his way, as he could use it right now. I am excited, though, to bring you today's show, because I'm about to sit with Jason from the Blast Points podcast, and Jason is a rock solid person, or at least he seems so on the podcast. I haven't really spoken to him before, but I'm really looking forward to it. That's going to happen here in just a little bit. So before that conversation gets going, I want to just ask that if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please take a minute to give us a review. If you want to write something, that's even better. I love to read those things. We love to read those things here on the mic for you. So we are growing. We're growing pretty fast, but every little bit helps. And the more you subscribe, the more you leave reviews, the more people hear about us. We're also over on YouTube every Friday night, late at night, where we talk Star Wars queerly. It's a deep dive late night live stream where we just dive into all of the goodies of Star Wars. We get emotional, we laugh, we get sassy. It's a really, really good time. So if you can come join us live, that's great. If not, make sure to check out the YouTube channel. So it's Pink Milk Podcast there on YouTube, and make sure you hit like and subscribe there. So enough plugging. I'm going to sit with Jason here, and we're going to talk about growing older with Star Wars, which is something that, in my opinion, is something that people need to do better sometimes, maybe, if you hop on Star Wars Twitter. This isn't ours. I mean, it's ours. It's a collaborative medium, I feel like. But, you know, I have been around since the very beginning, and I've had to grow with Star Wars. Star Wars has changed a lot over the years. It's one of the things that personally I love about it. I feel that Star Wars challenges us and gives us things that are not expected what we think, you know. It's so funny because right now, today in 2021, March, I am so excited for the Bad Batch. Like, I haven't been this excited about Star Wars since probably The Force Awakens. And at the time of Season 7 of Clone Wars, Bad Batch was like, about. But the longer I think about what they put in that show, and after what they did with Boba Fett during The Mandalorian, I'm really, really stoked to see where this show goes, because the Clone Wars is a lot more than just about clones and the Clone War, and I have no doubt that Bad Batch is going to go there. So a few weeks ago, I think it was now, on the Blast Points podcast, Jason and Gabe were talking about Boba Fett, who, both of them, you know, Boba Fett's rad. That's cool. But it seemed to me from listening to them that that's kind of where you left it. And Boba Fett has a huge following. We've talked about here on this podcast how excited I was for all those super Boba Fett stans to get all of us on their side. And The Mandalorian did some amazing things with Boba Fett. But listening to their show and how they, after growing up with Star Wars, their perceptions of Boba Fett changed, was just something really amazing. The thing I like about that pod as well is, you know, they have mixed feelings about The Rise of Skywalker, just like we do here on Pink Milk, but they're never mean about it. You can express yourself. Freedom of speech doesn't mean I can't say anything. It doesn't mean I can only say what is considered appropriate by the left wing. That's not what it means. Freedom of speech means freedom of speech. However, freedom of speech also means that those people don't have to listen. That's their freedom too. So if you want people to listen to you and you want people to be affected by your words, or even just soak in some of the words, you have to figure out how to go to people and give them what they don't want to hear or see necessarily, but do it in a way that is still supportive of them. It doesn't demean them and can give them something that they didn't know they needed. And that's something that Star Wars does so well. The Mandalorian in particular gave us that look of Star Wars that I think a lot of people were missing, but also brought in a lot of the themes that the Sequel Trilogy fandom is really into. And I just think the Mandalorian is hitting it out of the park. I think the Bad Batch is going to hit it out of the park. And I'm so excited for the future of Star Wars. I miss George behind the wheel, but I think he left behind a legacy that for a very, very long time people can kind of dig into. So enough about me rambling. Remember to speak to people who are different than you, but do it with kindness and come from a place of contribution as best as possible. People will surprise you. That is what my life has shown me. People will surprise you when you come at them and you don't make them feel alienated. Until then, this has nothing to do with Star Wars, so let's get talking some Star Wars. You're about to listen to what Jason and I are about to talk about. I'm about to talk to Jason about what we're about to talk about. So I will come back to you when he and I are done chit-chatting, okay? Until then, drink up! Hello there, everyone, and we are very, very, very excited to introduce you to Jason from Blast Points Podcast. If you know us, I'm sure you know them, but Jason, hello.
Hello, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. This is fun. This is great.
We've been chit-chatting for a little while beforehand, and yeah, I think it's going to be, I felt like I saw Star Wars the same way you did just from listening, but now, like, after a couple minutes of conversation, I'm feeling even more confident in that. So this is going to be a good conversation, I think. I was listening to it was a fairly recent episode about Boba Fett.
Yes.
And the change that the Mandalorian brought for Boba Fett. And I appreciate so much that kind of growth with Star Wars that we don't hear enough of. And I'm like, this is something I want to talk about anyways. And I'm reached out. You said yes. I was very excited because I think it's an important conversation actually as we get ready for this new trilogy of all new Star Wars that can be absolutely anything and how to grow with that, which is going to be really cool.
That's great.
Really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Because Star Wars loves to challenge us, and I'm here for it every single time.
The best Star Wars, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, even some of the not the best Star Wars still has moments you're like, oh, okay.
That's very true.
I'm good. Even droids, which could arguably, and I love me some droids. It could arguably be like towards the bottom of like quality Star Wars content. There's some cool stuff there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No. Yeah. The design of the droids cartoon is incredible. Even the Ewoks cartoon, it is so way out there. You've got to give it credit for just going absolutely bizarre with the Saturday morning cartoon. It is weird.
It sure is. It does not. It does not get that credit that it deserves for the wonkiness especially the second season. I don't know if they knew that it was coming to an end or what was going on.
I still couldn't tell you what is going on in that second season. We did an episode once where we did the Ewok Cartoon Challenge, where independently we tested how many Ewoks cartoons we could watch in 1 week. could we make it through all season 1, season 2 in 1 week? Didn't report our findings to each other. And then when we went to record our next episode, just talked about how far we made it in our in the Ewok cartoon. And yeah, in season 2, that's a challenge. Like, if for challenging Star Wars to make it through all season 2 of the Ewok cartoon, only the strong will survive.
Oh, yeah. Droids gave me Max Rebo. Anytime you give me Max Rebo, I'm going to be here for it.
Mm-hmm.
The Ewoks cartoon gave me more fairies. I'm going to be here for all of that. And yeah, I'm here for all of it.
The Wisties. The beautiful
Wisties. There we go. That's what they
are.
Oh, nerd card scored against me already.
It's nothing to be proud of.
There was a joke. We tried to do trivia every so often on the live stream. We just did a YouTube video with JodoCast. It was like a Family Feud style fight. I'm like, do not ever bring Bryan to Star Wars trivia, because like you would think that I'd never seen them before. Not my thing. Not my thing. But, so you guys were just talking about, are you super Ewok stands by chance?
Yes, most definitely. Yeah,
both of you.
Yeah, but both Gabe and I. Yeah, we are huge Ewok supporters, Ewok fans, Ewok defenders. Always have been, really. And I think a lot of that is just with what Return of the Jedi was. I mean, I think I'm horrible at math. I was like 7 when Return of the Jedi came out.
Okay.
And so I just was completely oblivious to the whole anti-Ewok thing that kind of happened for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Ewoks were great. The Ewoks were wonderful. We love the Ewok movies. Very special. And so, yeah, it's just like, Ewoks are awesome. And
I think
the more people try and like be like, boo, Ewoks, the more we're just like, no, yes, Ewoks.
I'm with you. So was Return of the Jedi the one that brought you in? Or
No.
were you around? Well, actually, if you were 7, you were there for all of them, right?
According to it goes that my sister went to, this is all according to my mom, because I was very young. Okay. My sister says she went to a birthday party that was Star Wars themed. Okay. I'm guessing this is around the time of the 79 re-release.
Okay.
Which I'm like 3, and my mom. So Star Wars, the original Star Wars, was the first movie I ever saw. And according to my mom, she says she was real nervous about bringing such a young kid to a movie, especially like a longer movie, and said that I sat in my seat and I didn't move the whole time. And she like asked me if I had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, no, I guess, according to my mom. Yeah. And it kind of makes sense, because I can remember then, after seeing Star Wars, that I felt like, and it makes sense, that Empire was just right around the corner. Mm-hmm. Like, suddenly everything was Star Wars for me. Like, from when I was about 4 years old, my whole bedroom suddenly became Star Wars, and it was like a lot of Empire Strikes Back. I was really into Empire. I had a ton of the toys, but it was Jedi where I was like, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life. This is the pinnacle. This is the ultimate movie.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a similar story. Empire Strikes Back was my first movie. Okay, I wasn't even 1 yet. I was like a week shy of 1. And my mom was the same thing. I'm kind of nervous to take like a baby, but I really like Star Wars. I want to go see this movie. Right. And she's the same thing. She's like, you didn't even blink. You were just like hooked on it, right? And forgive me, everyone. Hold on.
This is exciting.
1983 came out, so it was 4. Mm-hmm. And Return of the Jedi was on the way, right? Mm-hmm. And this, exact magazine. Oh yes!
Where is it? I have it. Where is it? Hold on a minute. Okay, check it out. It's missing the cover.
Oh my God, yes!
But
It is like looking into a mirror. I love it. It's so awesome.
Part one, the saga continues.
Yep.
There we go. Okay. Anyways.
This image.
Yes.
Right here.
Yes.
In the magazine. I remember at the grocery store on the spinny rack seeing this, opening it up, because I had, at that point, I had my brother's toys and all that stuff. So I knew what Star Wars was. And I saw that picture of Max Rebo. I was holding up a picture. There's like I mentioned this before, a centerfold. My first centerfold of the Max Rebo band. Should have said a lot about what was coming down the future. The kinds of centerfolds I was going to be interested in.
Right,
but there it was. And Max Rebo, from that day, has been like my favorite character. Beautiful. It's like everyone's got the character that doesn't mean really anything, but it's their favorite anyways. Mm-hmm. Some of them have a translucent tummy and crazy blue coloring, right? Right. But I remember that picture and then crying hysterically in the movie theater when the sail barge blew up because Max Rebo was a good guy and he couldn't have died. And I was very upset. And my mom's like, "Oh, no, he didn't die. You just missed him. He jumped off." I was like, okay, good. And then fast forward to 1996, I think. Tales from Jabba's Palace came out.
That makes sense, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Max Rebo jumped off the sail barge and lived. I was like, boom! My mother's right. But ever since then, I've been hooked. So did you ever leave Star Wars through the dark times? If we're the same age, so there was the dark times in the mid-late 80s. When did Power of the Force end? In like 1985, right? Maybe 86?
Yeah. I mean, I think about this a lot where I did, and it was kind of the right age to do it because, I mean, I remember, there's some things I remember from that time where I remember going to Toys R Us and there were the little, what were they called? The little metal miniature. There was like the little Bespin City with the little metal. They were like on deep discount. And I remember, and I loved that collection so much. And I was like kind of mad. I was like, why are these discounts so much? And I want to get all of them. But it was also that period of time where if like, as you get older in like grade school, if you're still like playing with toys, you get like, he's weird. He still has G.I. Joe figures and he's still playing with the Star Wars toys. So, but then we went to California when I think I was in about 5th or 6th grade, and Star Tours was pretty new. We went to Anaheim, went to LA, and we went to Anaheim, and I lost my mind at Star Tours. So, and I think that had to have been like the late 80s, because I think when did Star Tours open up? Like 87?
87. So Captain EO came out in 86, I think. The only time I've ever been to Disneyland was when they were shooting the TV commercial for Captain EO.
Oh my God.
So I have never
What did you see? What did you see?
I didn't even see it.
Oh,
I saw the dude from Dallas, I think it was, who then came on that show with Suzanne Summers about all the kids in the 90s. I forget the guy's name. Curly hair. I don't know. Some actor.
Patrick Duffy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saw him. My mom was very excited.
That's great. That's great. So yeah, I remember I got like a Star Tours like bumper sticker and I had a Star Tours sweatshirt. So like I think about that sometimes and it's like even though I wasn't as Star Wars obsessed, like the fire was still burning. Like in Star Tours, like for a minute there was just like, no, this is still very important. And I remember there was a time when like I had a cousin who was like younger than me, and someone was just like, "Oh, could we give him some of your old toys?" And I was like, "No, nothing Star Wars." Which this had to have been around the same for like 1989, 90 or something like that. And I was like, no Star Wars whatsoever. None of it. And I remember my parents being like, you still have like so much. Like, what are you doing with all that stuff? I was like, we're not talking about, it's not a question.
I love it.
Conversation's done. So
I love it.
Yeah.
It's very similar for me. Like same thing. I've never left. So when the movies ended,
Star Wars Magazine came out. It's had a few names over the years. I was always a part of that forever. And that was when I got into collecting Star Wars because they weren't at the store anymore. But that's really, I was into Star Wars and G.I. Joe. That was it. And we started going to like toy fairs and stuff like that in comic shops. I would buy used Star Wars toys. And I was like 6 or 7, 8. And I met this guy. He had a toy store called the Empire of Toys, Ron Lewis. I still remember him very well. He was very good to me. And he's like, he's like, I don't know if I've ever seen a kid this excited. I don't know what it was. But anyways, he was super nice to me, right? He latched. And for years, I had a relationship with this guy for years and years and years. And he was like, you need to start him on a Star Wars collection. Like, this will help pay for his college someday. Right. So when I was little, I started collecting mint on card figures at like 10 years old. So I'd buy one to play with. And then he would always, get me or, tell me which one to get on the card. Right. And at Christmas time, later I'd find out it wasn't Santa, but it was my mother. Like, here's what my budget is. Put him together a Star Wars. So like, I literally never not had a Star Wars Christmas forever. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
And so then anyways, that was all my life, whatever, until I went to college. And I took a few years off before I went to school. So I was like 20, 21, something like that. And it was time. And I had a massive Star Wars collection because I had been doing it for 10 plus years, long before it was anything.
Right.
And sold it all to put myself to college. And which was hard. And I think back now, like some of the stuff I had, I was like, oh man, that was cool. Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
But I'm like, then but it paid for school. So
that's kind of amazing.
Yes. And then I've never collected again because once I had that and had to let it go, I was like, I can't. This is. Yeah. And then during the 2000s, mostly with Revenge of the Sith, like it became so overwhelming. The amount of things out there, like I mad props to all of you who are dedicated and find everything.
I don't know how. Yeah. I don't know how they do it. It's pretty cool.
So you were saying you ordered a hot toy, right?
Yes. I freaked out and I ordered the Hot Toys Boba Fett, which I kind of like silently pledged to myself during those Mandalorian episodes. I was like, I just, like you were saying with that Boba Fett episode we did, like everything about this Mandalorian version of Boba Fett, I was just like, I am in love with everything going on here. I love his look. I love every part, there's like 3 stages of his look. And I was like, I don't care what they make. I don't care what they do. I'm going to get the Hot Toys. Which Gabe always teased me because he's just like, you've resisted and resisted and resisted. I've talked a lot. Like, I'm going to get the Hot Toys of that. I'm going to get the Hot Toys of Crate Luke. Or I'm going to get the Hot Toys of this, that. And I never do. Because then when it comes out and you're like, oh, it's $285. But I was like, you know what? I said I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it.
Good for you.
And you know what? Hot Toys, their payment plan is really not bad. I got to give them credit.
Okay.
Like once I actually went in and looked at it, I was like, that's really doable. I give them, that was really nice. So that's my plug for Hot Toys there.
I was going to do it for Ahsoka.
Yes.
And I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. Oh, well, I don't know. I have my pop toys. I have my pop figures. That's what I can do.
Yeah.
They're cute. I'm down for like cute Star Wars toys. And I don't even have that many. But who is your favorite character? I'm guessing it's not Boba Fett. Maybe this new version is coming there.
I flip-flop around. Sometimes it's Luke Skywalker. Sometimes it's old Ben Kenobi, like A New Hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Sometimes it's Qui-Gon Jinn. The Kenobi show will probably push Obi-Wan back into it. I was really into Rey for a long time. It's like Jedi. Good Jedi are always kind of what I'm what I'm always drawn to. It's what I think about the most. And,
love it.
What is it? Nice Jedi.
What is it about these characters? Like, what do you think it is that makes them your favorite?
I think that's the thing where I think it kind of relates to like what we were talking about earlier with like the dark times and stuff. My Star Wars Renaissance came. It was actually right at the end of my senior year of high school. A movie theater in Grand Rapids called Studio 28, which had THX Sound in one of their theaters. They did an all-day marathon on a Sunday of the original trilogy, and with a half-hour break in between each one. And I went just being like, well, this is the Star Wars movies from as a kid, but I hadn't actually watched them in years, watch them. And especially going in as an 18-year-old, just about to leave for college. And that was the thing that I watched them that day and got all the other stuff out of the movies. And it wasn't the toys and the fun and the little kid stuff. I got all the good stuff, all the meat. And it was Luke kind of leaving Tatooine, and I was about to leave. I grew up in a small town in Michigan, pretty boring, pretty lame, didn't like anybody at high school, and I was like, I was about to leave to go to art school. And it was like the great next, the great unknown where, and so, and I kind of got infatuated with the whole concept of the Force and the Jedi. And I never really kind of picked up on the deeper stuff as a kid. And I remember my next door neighbor, who was like older, when he went off to school, gave me a bunch of his books. And he was like maybe about 5 or 6 years older, and he had like a bunch of like New Age. He had like Carlos Castaneda. And I had been reading these through high school. And I was like, oh my God, like some of the stuff in these books is exactly like what Yoda's saying. And that was the thing, like watching Yoda on Dagobah in the theater. It's like, I've never seen this movie before, like, because I felt like I was watching it all for the first time. And yeah, so I just got really into like the idea of the light side of the Force and just the Jedi. And
love it.
Yeah.
And does that carry with you today? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so great.
So great. Yeah. Here, look at, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I want to get the camera. So yeah, the Jedi tattoo there. Because then that was the thing too, that like a friend of mine in college got like the Imperial symbol tattooed. And I was like, how could you do that? Like, how could you have, and he's like, well, their ships are cooler. And I was like, that's not, number one, that's not even true. But number two, like, how are you going to explain that to to your kids? And, I was like, I don't know. So, yeah, I always try and be on the good side. And yeah, I like, just the Jedi and stories of the Jedi.
It's so funny. Before we had started recording, Jason and I were just talking about our spouses and all of that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until I met Tom that, I was probably 11, 12 in the tween period that we were also talking about with our two kids and starting to get too cool for school and all the things that tweens do. And like I started to question God and Christianity and all that, which I'm sure a lot of kids at that age start to have questions, right?
Sure.
And we were learning about Greek mythology around all that time and government. And I remember very distinctly coming home one day saying, here in the United States, we have 3 branches of government, and that's what is part of what makes our country so great. But then there's only one God. I don't understand. What if he's wrong? What if he's wrong about something? And it was, an innocent question. And I was like, I kind of like this thing. And I was like, Mom, do you know, back in ancient Greece, they thought there was lots of gods. To me, they all sit around a table and have conversations about what to do. I'm like, that seems like so much like that's what I want. Right. That makes more sense. And here it is. I knew us queer kids know we're queer. We don't know what it is, but I knew that religion at that time anyways, and this is a blanket statement, but like did not like me. That was so I think there was some of that underneath the surface too, you know, like God could be wrong that I'm not bad. And when you're a kid, that's what you hear. That was all what the media was, right? But and then later, and then I would get a little older, and then I'm like, but I don't even like this either, because they're still people.
Right.
And they're still people, and we change, and all of a sudden, like Yoda and Luke started like coming in more, and it really shifted the way I view what's next, what's out there, all of those things. And it wasn't until I met Tom, who, another thing we're talking about, Jason and I, like how our spouses are different. And it's something that I love. And Tom is very religious. Tom is Irish Catholic through and through. And I understand how in some relationships that might cause a problem. And I respect it. I get it. You know, it's big. And Tom was like, you know, and this was, God, 14 years ago. And it was pretty early on in our conversation, you know, he's like, but I think you think about Star Wars. I don't even think if he understood the Force, like, I don't think everyone knows what the Force is, but I don't think you could say you believe in the Force like this, because he wasn't that. But he was like, but I think you look at Star Wars the same way I look at the Bible and at God. And he's like, I think that is your religion. And I was like, oh my God, well, one, that is the nerdiest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But maybe. And then like as years would go on, I'm like, oh no, I kind of think that's what it is. I love the idea of that. And now I'm like, I own it a little differently. I'm like, well, this is what I believe. I just happen to know who the writers are.
Right.
It's in there, but it really does. I love it. You know, it shapes you and guides you and does all those things, but you're still very much an active participant in what your destiny is. You know, that's where the Jedi and the Sith, which I don't even like the Jedi anymore, but that's a whole another conversation. But but the Sith, you know, they think their path is laid down before them out of greed. Greed is dictating where they go. And a light side user understands that life is going to shape them. They still have choices to make, and that struggle is always there, and they try to do what's right in the moment. And then if you're a really good Jedi, you can admit to when you've made the wrong choice somewhere else down the road.
Absolutely.
Not all of them can do that, as Luke says in The Last Jedi, which is an amazing line.
Right.
And I love, you know, but it's just interesting as you get older, and some of that stuff, if you're a big enough Star Wars fan, probably percolates in your little brain. But you don't know that's what it's doing, right. But it's putting those ideas in you. Which is really, really cool. It was one of those things that I was like, oh, I think I like this guy. Because it was like no judgment attached to it either. He's like, I think that's what you believe in. You know? Right. And I've got all my tattoos are like hippy dippy, like Mother Earth, like Circle of Life tattoos all over. Like I'm like really into that stuff, you know?
Sure.
It's like, oh, it's kind of the Force though. That's what I believe in.
It's true. Yeah.
Which is great.
I always like thinking too that, you know, you hear or you read interviews with George Lucas, and like when Star Wars first came out, and how every religion tried to grab onto the Force and be like, he's talking about Christianity, or he's talking about Buddhism, or he's talking about this or that or this, and how he's just, one of his goals with that, he always says, is how he just wanted to kind of make the Force just kind of a blanket of all religion, and to just slip it into kind of kids' head of thinking about a higher power and thinking about, well, what do you believe? You know, and believing in more than is just what we can see and what we can touch. And I love that, you know, and I love kind of going in and like when you hear, and because I'm not super duper religious, but I when I hear other things in actual religion, that it's like, oh, well, that's where Lucas got it from, and that's really awesome, you know. And so, yeah, I don't know.
It's amazing. It's just, that's the thing for me that I love about Star Wars. I can pop it on and eat popcorn, and I can still leave it there, or I can go to it when I need those deeper things for whatever point in life. There's always something, that Star Wars can show you a path. And man, I know George, people like to tease George for being a horrible writer and all, and a horrible director, but I don't believe in any of it. He is so beyond. He's just beyond. I'm like, he's so good at what he does that you don't even know he's doing it while you're watching it or listening or doing it. I'm like, you don't even know it's there. Right. There's so much underneath the surface with what George does. And it's one of the things I love about Dave Filoni, because Dave Filoni, I think, does so much of the under the surface stuff. There is so much there. Honestly, that's why there's 297,000 Star Wars podcasts out there.
Right. And it's the same thing with, there was and I would say that there was the wonderful thing with The Last Jedi, when that movie came out, where I saw it opening night and I was like, well, that was different. I liked it, but that was different. And I kept going to see it more and more and more and more. And I would sit in the theater and just think about what that movie was saying with especially though the greatest teacher failure is, so that moment with Luke and Yoda. And it really blew me away of thinking about it full circle as being where we started our conversation of being a little kid, and how I loved Star Wars in that way as a kid. Mm-hmm. And then kind of coming into it as an 18-year-old, right, as it was starting to bubble up and the special editions were starting to come out, and riding that all the way through to the prequels and never giving it up at all. But then kind of The Last Jedi, talking to, about failure and just kind of doing your best and learning from mistakes. And it's speaking to me. I felt like speaking to me now. And I was just like, God damn it, Star Wars.
Yep.
Why are, it's the, yeah. Anyway.
No, I love that. I think it's beautiful. I think that was something. So I'm curious about this. When you started your podcast, because something for us happened. Y'all have had your podcast for a long while now, but
it's just crazy. It doesn't feel like it, but yeah.
So one of the things that I think, and it was on a live stream, which is, that's the thing I love about this more than anything, are the things that come to you in talking to somebody else. You're like, oh, I don't think I've ever had to say X, Y, or Z out loud before. So when you internalize it, it's very different. But Star Wars for me was always a thing that we're guys, and I've mentioned this before, we're not allowed to show emotion, and you can't do this, and you throw a queer kid on top of it, and all the stuff that came with that. It's all ridiculous. It's all completely ridiculous, but it's there.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I hope it's starting to go away. But
I think,
Star Wars is my way to tap into emotion. That's my ticket into dealing with whatever it is that I need to deal with. And it's always been that way forever. And the thing that I love about Star Wars, and you just kind of said it during The Last Jedi, here it is again. Star Wars is, for me, always there when I needed it. I didn't know I was going to need it, but it was there. And it taught me things. We all have, I think a lot of us have characters for those reasons too. They are there to guide us. So I'm curious, when did you all start your podcast?
So getting ready. So Gabe, I got to back way up. So I was going to art school. And so Gabe and I were from the same town in Michigan, Muskegon, Michigan. And we both were, but we went to separate high schools. And my dad actually taught at the high school Gabe went to. And we, at this, the art school in Grand Rapids, Kendall College, we were like the two kids from Muskegon.
Okay.
And when I did the tour of the school, I went with my dad. And so Gabe knew my dad from teaching at his high school.
Yeah.
So, and I remember seeing Gabe, and he had like long hair and a beard, and he was wearing a red Godzilla shirt and like shorts and I think like flip-flops or something. And I was like, I bet I could be friends with that guy. So then we were going to, I'm going way back.
That's great.
We were going to, with friends, we were going to see Guar in Grand Rapids. And they were like, we got to pick up Gabe because he was staying, because our art school didn't have dorms. So you're kind of on your own with what you had to do. But the local college gave up some of their dorms for Kendall kids. So we had to go, and he was staying there. I'm like, we got to go pick up Gabe at the dorms. And we went in his room, and he was just sitting in there playing Mortal Kombat. And he was like, "Do you guys want to play? Do you love it?
War, Mortal Kombat."
Yeah. So he's like, "You guys want to play some Mortal Kombat?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm always down for some Mortal Kombat." So then we go to see Guar, and we get to talking this night at the concert. And I think I said to him that night, I was like, "We should get an apartment together. What do you think about that?" Like, because I was commuting back and forth an hour both ways at this time. And he was just like, yeah, let's do it. And then we move in together and we figure out that we both are crazy into Star Wars. And I think we talk about this a lot, how we both, and this is 1994. So the figures were just coming back out. Special edition mania was running wild. And we really kind of, I think, like, egged each other on, like pushed each other more and more with our Star Wars craziness. Mm-hmm. And we just got along really, really well. It's funny because when my wife met Gabe, she was like, "This is weird. I've never met someone so much like you, but not you, but like you." And so, yeah. And so Gabe wanted to get into more of the computer design of art. He was way more into video games than I was. Mm-hmm. And Kendall just had they were like anti-computers for some reason. They were like, computers are going to kill, traditional art and stuff. And it was kind of like, shut up. But so he had family in the Chicago area. So he was like, I can get into a school that is more focused on computers, blah, blah, blah. He moves to Chicago. We stay in touch. He gets married. He has kids. I get married. We still stay in touch all the time. We talk to each other about Star Wars. And we went to all the celebrations. We went to Celebration 2 and Celebration 3 together.
Awesome.
So up comes Celebration Anaheim 2015. And there was like those Orlando ones, and we didn't go to those because that was like around kid time. Mm-hmm. And we're like, we're getting the band back together. You and I, we're going to Celebration Anaheim. Star Wars Force Awakens is coming out. This is going to be major. And in that time, I'm getting so excited. I start listening to Star Wars podcasts because also I was a stay-home dad for a very long time, so I had time in my hands. So, and like my daughter would be like in preschool or kindergarten, and I would be listening to Star Wars podcasts just to kind of hear what people were saying. And there were some that I liked what they did, and there were some that I was just like, why would you, I was just like, you'd be so much better if you did this, or I don't like the way so-and-so talks, and I don't like this. And I started thinking in my head, like, I wonder if I could do a Star Wars podcast. And yeah, it really was Celebration Anaheim, though, that was still my favorite celebration of them all. The atmosphere, the place was just electric every single day. It was so just, everyone was so excited. I felt like everyone was just floating above the ground at that celebration. It was, and Gabe and I kind of left that celebration kind of being, we left that celebration kind of being like, we need to finally do something with our Star Wars insanity that we have. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, it was kind of later I approached him. I was like, if I had a Star Wars podcast. Would you want to do it with me? I'm like, we could just kind of talk the way we always talk.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, yeah, sure.
That's awesome.
And yeah, we just were like, it took us a long time to kind of get our groove and kind of figure out what kind of show we wanted to be. Because I feel like in the beginning we were trying too hard to copy other shows. Like, well, they do this and they kind of do that. So what if we did that? And yeah, it took us a while to kind of get what we do kind of right. But yeah, it's been fun. And
that's awesome.
We've known each other since we were teenagers. Yeah. So our shorthand is very, we know where each other's coming from all the time. We can make each other laugh really easily. Mm-hmm. And when you know someone for that long, there's no ego. There's no, there's no like trying.
And you can feel it. I think there are, when like somebody's new, obviously, like there's going to be like, if you're listening to a show and they get a new host for whatever, like, there's that growing period. But I think there's sometimes you can hear when there is a genuine relationship.
Yeah.
Versus, how do I want to phrase this? Because I don't mean genuine relationship. Like you're just having a conversation versus these are the notes we got to hit tonight. This is the stuff we're talking about. And there's a place for that for sure.
Sure.
But I think what I love in podcasts is that connection. And when you can feel that people are genuinely interested in what the other person has to say, or even better, there is a history there that they're pulling from.
Right.
It makes you feel, and it's always, for me anyways, it's always interesting when I'm speaking to people like you that I've listened to for so long, because you feel like you know these people and like sure. we don't. And so there's this weird, like the first few times for sure, I was like, it was really hard because I'm like, I don't know you at all, but I know you and I know where you stand on things. And it's this interesting thing, but it's kind of what makes it so great.
Right.
Especially after this 2020 that none of us had anticipated, of a new way of connecting to people. And thank whatever is out there, thank the Force that all of this existed before this happened.
Oh yeah, totally. I thought about that all the time. I was like, what a miracle that streaming exists. Like during this past year, like where would we be like if we just had to watch the olden days and whatever's just on TV?
100%. I mean, like, yeah, 100%.
And podcasts of just like I just want to listen to just people talk.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's so much fun because that's what we like to do. We like to talk Star Wars with people, and at least it's the closest thing, like when you're sitting at work and you're in an office cubicle or wherever, or however you work, you can put an earbud in and you get to hang with your friends and talk Star Wars.
Right.
And it's the great, it's what I love. I love those shows that just talk, and I'm curious how to circle back to The Last Jedi and tie it into the Boba Fett a little bit. So you're on pushing 6 years, right, for podcasting, probably here in a few months, right? We started January 2016. Okay.
So this past January,
5 years. That's a good chunk of time.
It's crazy.
And how has that changed the way you look at Star Wars? Or has it at all?
There's a lot of levels. It's like what it is for me, and I don't want to speak for Gabe, but I think it'd probably be the same way for him. It's like when we would do like our Mandalorian recap episodes, and we would each talk about our experience in the morning at 6 a.m. watching the episode. and it was still very pure,
Yep.
you know, and we're not the first time we would watch the episodes, the first time we watch a movie, at least now, I think when the beginning of the podcast, like maybe like when Rogue One kind of came out, I was thinking more like, how are we going to talk about this on the podcast? Like how are we going to do with the podcast? And now it's just kind of like, whatever we do, it'll be fine.
Yep.
And I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let me just enjoy, you know, this, whatever this Star Wars thing is, and not think about like what, you know, well, what are people going to say, or what. And we got in a little bit of hot water with that, with The Rise of Skywalker, because neither he or I really loved it. And I think there was a lot of people who are like, Blast Points is this positive Star Wars podcast that, you know, is not about hate and stuff. And we never came out and said we hated it, but we were just like, hey, we got issues with this movie. Yep. And we lost a lot of listeners, and we got some angry emails and stuff of being like, you know, I thought you guys were positive. And it's like, well, we're also going to be honest, you know, and we don't want to lie.
Yep.
And yeah, I think it's our initial experience with loving it, and it's still kind of just personal and with us, and that hasn't really changed. The one thing though that I think has changed for us, and I think this goes back to that thing of leaving Celebration Anaheim and being like, we need to do something. Like we have like this, like, you know, the car is just revving and we're ready to go. Like you go to Celebration and you see all these people that are so involved in the fandom, and we're like, we need to contribute something. We need to do, you know, put something out there. And the last Celebration in Chicago, Gabe and I were just floored, because we had people that recognized us by us just talking. And everyone that came up to us usually came up to us smiling, or they would just walk up to us and just like start laughing. And we'd be like, hey, what's up? Where are you from? You know, like, that's great. And it was people, you know, people told us like where they listened to us. And we had like people from like Scotland that were like, I listened to you when I'm walking my dog in Scotland. And we were like, that is insane. And Gabe and I would just talk about it. We'd be like, it just made us feel so good, you know? And we never were like, yeah, of course, you know, but we were like, just meeting listeners and having like conversations with listeners. And like you said, like people who they were in their ears for an hour every week, and they look forward to hanging out with us, you know, in whatever they do, whether it's driving to work and stuff. And we're just like, you know, because we make these podcasts and we do these things and we sit and talk, but sometimes you don't really think about where it's going and who's listening, and just kind of actually seeing that in physical, it was just awesome. So I guess that in that way it's changed. It's made us more kind of proud, I guess, of what we're doing, you know, of like, no, we're making people happy, and we, you know, what we say and what we do, it means things. And yeah, just, we need to keep doing what we're doing, you know?
Yep. Yeah, no, I think that's great. And you guys are really big. Like, you're a really big show. Like, you have to have like a lot of interaction, which is really great. Like, you know, we're still babies in this kind of thing. And
you get I think of it as like a popular indie band in the 90s. We're the Pavement of podcasts, you know.
Okay. Yes.
You know, we're not selling out the stadiums or anything, but you know, we've got a very loyal, awesome fan base.
No, that's what I mean. Like, that's got to be great, because I think, you know, I'm really fortunate when it comes to like this. Like, it's me. Like, Tom is here. Tom laughs. He's the star of the show. He shows up from the green room. When he's done, he leaves, and that's what he does. You know, and
yeah.
Now I have Mark and Emma. that I only met through the podcast, and now we have a live stream together. But, you know, for the most part, it's me. I do all of it. And which is great. It's been amazing, but I was not anticipating people.
Right. Yeah.
And it was people that really started changing the show. Like we were talking, you know, I thought it was going to be this, but it wasn't that, because people didn't respond to that. They responded to us and our talk, and then the way, you know, whatever. And it was people reaching out and saying, I love when you said this, or, you know, I've mentioned this before, the thing that changed everything for me, that like it changed me as a person. There was someone who sent me a message, and it was just like, you know, our daughter is a lesbian and we've always supported her, but in listening to your show, I understand more what her life must be like. And like, thank you. I was like, wait, what? And here I am, like, just talking Star Wars. And it's beautiful. Like I took that very, very, very seriously. And it does, like you were saying, oh, what we say kind of matters.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
right.
Oh, okay. I am now Jason for somebody else out there. And it was a weird, like, oh, to go back to, it was always just my thing. Well, now I had to learn to share it with my children.
Yeah.
And now I'm sharing it with an audience. And it's so great, because I don't think I knew what I was missing by being alone in Star Wars for so long. And it's been a really, really wonderful gift that I flat out did not anticipate. It was like the thing that I was like, oh, this is so awesome to share Star Wars with people.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yeah. It's amazing.
And especially when you get to things. So Rise of Skywalker, not your favorite. And I don't know why you would lose listeners, because it's all been great. All of the coverage. But I mean, I get it. Like, but it was great. All of it was great. You know, I went through the 5 stages of grief about it. We had just started the podcast, you know, for Rise of Skywalker and Mandalorian. That was kind of our deadline. You know, this is the time to kind of hop on, because there's going to be empty space for a while. I didn't know back then there's going to be 75 shows coming. Right. But like, I was like, oh my God, of course I got out of it and I loved it. It's Star Wars. It was the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. Then I saw it again. I was like, oh my God, I don't think this is good.
No,
and I saw it again going,
yeah, I
don't know. But now for me, it was the first Star Wars I did not like. And was there a Star Wars that you did not like?
And this is surprising for some people. I didn't love Revenge of the Sith right away. Like I think that was more of a learning experience. I've come around on it completely. And really it was Clone Wars that really kind of turned me around on Revenge of the Sith. But and I've had no problems admitting it. My thing with Revenge of the Sith was that it was just a bummer. It was just a downer of a movie. And I didn't know if I wanted that in Star Wars. And it was kind of more of me learning, like, it's not what I want. And to check my expectations, because I was kind of like, oh, you know, Anakin and Obi-Wan, they're jumping around too much in the Mustafar fight, and this should be more emotional, and it should, you know, and it's that thing that we can so easily do as fans, as passionate fans, it should be like this, because in my mind, I think it should, you know, expectations and whatever. And so I think I was kind of guilty of that for Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
I've come around on it a lot more, and I appreciate it a lot, and I like it a lot. And I think it's maybe at times like the most, like, it's definitely of the 3 prequels, like the most like poetic and the most at times subtle. And, you know, again, especially with the last year we've had, the things George Lucas was saying about politics in that film is just absolutely fascinating, you know? And so that was one that I struggled with for a while. Okay. But also I think I was kind of mad that I thought Star Wars was ending.
Yep.
And I was like, this is it. This is the last movie we're ever going to get. And I was and it was kind of a bummer. And I think I was just kind of bitter.
Yeah, no, I understand 100%. Like, so how do you grow with that? Because if you hop on Twitter, I'm not on anything really other than Star Wars Twitter for the most part. I understand being disappointed. You know, I've like Rise of Skywalker really is the first one I didn't like, and it took me a minute. I was really, really bummed because I'm like, I want to love it, and you know, it gave me Rey Skywalker, which for me is absolutely. It said so much and spoke to me, like you know, in my life so much that no matter how I feel about it, it gave me that. And I will always love it for that. And I totally respect that is not everyone's thing, you know, like, because I can understand their disappointment, but you said it's not ours. And we've been around from the very beginning, you know, so we dealt with the prequels. I don't think I was alone in thinking, oh my God, I can't wait to meet the Jedi riding horseback, fighting tanks with their lightsabers. And it's going to be like,
right.
That's not what we got.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the Jedi. I'm like, and to this day, I think that is what was underlying a lot of the stuff that people didn't like in the prequels. They blame it on these other things, but the Jedi weren't really heroes.
Right.
They were not portrayed as heroes. And that is a really, really, really hard pill to swallow.
Right.
Because Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, they are our heroes. And to me, that's some of the stuff when I hear people slamming dialogue or slamming the directing of the prequels, I'm like, the fact that my children can still look at a Jedi and be a hero, and a parent can be okay with the fact that they're heroes, even though, you know, they're kidnapping children and not showing them any affection and doing all of these things, like underneath the surface, they're doing all them. Kidnapping children might be a little extreme, but but like that is such a fine line to walk. Like that is a incredibly complex set of emotions to tackle, but little kids kind of get it.
Yeah.
But they can still look up to them. And I'm like, it is this achievement that is it blows me away every time I think about it. Like for me, I think I go back to the prequels more than the original trilogy. And I'm an OT kid.
Sure.
But I find so much in it. And you're right. And Clone Wars, like, literally changed the game for all of Star Wars going forward, as far as I'm concerned. And then the sequels came. And, you know, and our heroes are not the main players anymore. And that was tough for a lot of people. So how do we like grow with it? Except that we're entitled to be disappointed from it. We're entitled to fantasize about what we think is going to happen. These are ours too. These films are a collective medium between the creator and its owners and the characters. And, you know, it's not, they're still ours, but there's a point where not that you have to like everything, but for this thing that people love, like how do we go on and not like something? You know, like how do you go on and go, you know what? There's still going to be some of these things coming. Maybe I don't like it now. I don't like I don't understand Boba Fett. Sure, he's cool. Okay, I'll give you all that, but what's the hype for? Oh.
Right.
Oh, this is amazing. And now I can go back and see those other things and go, oh, and then to get excited again. It's like this whole new, like you get to experience it all over again. To me, it's exciting. But that's got to be hard, especially if you have a podcast and then people are upset with you.
Right. Yeah.
Because giving them what they want.
Yeah. No, and I think part of that is in having lived through the prequels. And I saw The Phantom Menace 37 times in the theater. I was going once a week. There are some days where towards the end of its run where they wouldn't clean out the theater afterwards. And I would just stay in there and no one ever knew. It was great. It was great. Good time. You know, I was in my 20s. You could do stuff like that. And it's like at a certain point, I don't know. I would hear about it. I would go on like the message boards of theforce.net, and that's the thing. Nothing's changed. Like the kind of people that are out there on the dark corners of Star Wars Twitter, they've always been there. But there were people talking trash about the prequels back then, and and every once in a while, that's the thing. You'd run into someone on like a message board who was like, that person gets it. They're speaking the truth. They got that movie. And sometimes they would say things that would make me think of things, that I never thought of. And when I remember it was like that period of time of right after Phantom Menace, because that's the thing, that Phantom Menace kind of came out and was like, hey, maybe the Jedis are jerks. And maybe this isn't going to be as black and white as you thought it was going to be. And maybe this isn't going to be just the nostalgia trip for the kids that have fuzzy memories of the 80s. Maybe this will be, a bit of a challenge. And I loved that. And I embraced it. I am, like we said, like the challenge of Star Wars. If Star Wars can forever just keep changing itself, keep flipping the story the way George Lucas did back then, and not give you exactly what you... Gabe says something really good where he's like, it's the very George Lucas thing of not giving you what you think you're going to get, but giving you exactly what you need. And I think that's a thing with some fans, that they just want, they want McDonald's, they want fast food Star Wars. So you drive up McDonald's, you order your food, you know exactly what it's going to taste like and what the wrapper is going to be like, and it's very safe, and it reminds you of being a little kid. But storytelling shouldn't be like that. Storytelling should challenge you and make you think about things, and maybe challenge what it said in the past. And that's the only way these stories, and especially a story that, like Star Wars, I mean, even Star Trek is doing that now with like Discovery and stuff of, what if what we did in the past, what if some of that isn't right? And what, how do we move forward in storytelling? And that's exciting and that's interesting. So the way we were talking about, like with Luke at the end of Mandalorian season 2, that there's the thrill of Luke Skywalker showing up and the fun of him cutting down all those droids and everything. But then it's kind of a punch in the gut, because that episode ended and you're like, this is great, but do I hate Luke Skywalker right now? Is Luke Skywalker the bad guy? Like, what is going on? And I love that. I love that now we have to wait for how long for season 3. Thinking maybe Luke Skywalker's the bad guy, and now Boba Fett has become a good guy in the book of Boba Fett, and turning it all upside down, and just, embracing change and moving forward with it, and just kind of embracing wherever this story is going to go. And you're not going to love everything, but there's going to be 1,000 more shows and many more hours of Star Wars to come. And there's no way anyone can love it all. So, and best not to just get bent out of shape about it, because in the end, it's just for fun.
100%. But I love what you said. You just gave the entire thesis of Luke's arc in The Last Jedi. He got older. And changed. And any of these people who are upset to think that that's my hero, that's my Luke, was, not my Luke was the thing. Well, but you changed too. And that's what was so smart. And what they did at the end of that movie is it's not too late to go back to how you used to think. Let it all go. Let it all go. And put it through the filter of you today. Exactly.
And I love that. There was a quote that Rian Johnson said where it wasn't about taking your action figure off the shelf and placing it in this movie, that treating these characters with respect. And I don't know. And
Kylo's right. He doesn't say it the right way, but you have to let the past go. Maybe you don't need to kill it, but he's there's some truth there. That's
Absolutely.
what Luke had to do. But Luke had to figure it out and go, okay, well, I need to let it go for everybody else's concerns. I don't need to let it go for my concern. Like that. It was this beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Which is very Jedi.
100%. Yes. So much. And now knowing, I'm telling you, I loved what they did to Luke in Mandalorian. As angry as I am at Luke, I love what they did, because they gave us all what we wanted. And I could just see Dave Filoni. Wouldn't it be funny if we, he's slamming everything and we read what they wanted on Twitter and then he's going to take the kid away. Would that be, that'd be pretty McClunky of us, wouldn't it? Right. That was the kind of thing, because that's what needed to happen. Luke was going down a path of what he thought the Jedi were supposed to do. And unfortunately, he was too by the book.
Right.
And he started taking kids.
Right.
And I'm I can't. Here's this kid for 50 years was never loved by anybody because he was in the Jedi temple who tell them, nope, can't love me. Then a foster kid taken from who knows how many homes. And he finally found someone that loved him. He finally found a father and taken away like that. I'm like, I can't, it just gets me really emotional, but it needed to happen.
Right.
It needed to happen.
Yeah.
It needed to happen for Din, because now Din is like, the dude finally accepted being a father, and he thought in that moment, this is what a father would do.
Right. Right.
Dude, did you not listen to Ahsoka? Because Ahsoka told you. She always knows. Listen to Ahsoka. She always knows what to do. You're all he needs.
Yeah.
Anyways. I could go on and on about that.
No. Yeah. It's
so good.
It's wonderful. Wonderful.
It's so good. So, question. We've been talking about the podcast and interacting. And in a way, I like to ask this question a lot, of representation, because it was something else that the podcast showed me. I don't think I even understood how important representation was when we first started. And it was our first year. We were doing Pride Month episodes, and I met Mark Marquis, who's, now we're friends. And we were like halfway through recording a podcast like this. I'm like, oh my God, this is the first time I have ever spoken to another gay person about Star Wars. I'm 41 years old and I've never done this.
Right.
Like, not even a like a little conversation. It was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And some of the things people were reaching out. Like when I started, I didn't know there was any other queer people in podcasting. I had no idea. That was part of why I started it. I didn't know it was because representation needed to happen. I was literally like, I'm gay. And I know there are certain things that have shifted. I think I look at things differently as a queer person that I don't think somebody else won't necessarily be able to see because they're not living this experience. But I don't think I knew it was representation back then. Like, I don't think I put that together. And it was in interactions with people listening and just hearing people saying, I didn't know this was here either. And thank you. And I was like, oh, wow. But I also think even representation in different characters can be equally important. And seeing Luke Skywalker, different than how he represented a side of growing up that needed to happen in this series of films. So many people say are for kids, which I understand what they're saying. I don't agree with it. But that was something that needed to be represented, that growing up and all those things on a different kind of level. But what do you think? Do you enjoy seeing different kinds of things? What do you get from it when you do? Has seeing any of those things changed you? Has it helped you in any sort of thing? I'm always curious about this.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think representation is everything, because Star Wars should be for everyone, and representation in every way should be. It's there's Gabe and I talk about it all the time, where we are, two 40-year-old white straight guys, but we are not Star Wars fandom. There are a lot of people that try and say that in our whatever age group or whatever, that well, it's just people like us, and it's go to a celebration. It's not. It's wildly diverse. I always say it's as wildly diverse as Star Wars races and aliens. And it's so important. You think, you look at like we were talking about before, the family in Rebels, of this found family of the moms of Twi'lek, and and Zeb is a member of the family, and just kind of what that represents, and the way that they all love each other. That's everything. And that stuff is so important. And even Luke, like we keep going back to, but how can you not? Like Luke in The Last Jedi, of just, it's that thing of embracing change and not being held back by, I don't know, what you think you should be doing, or what you think you should be, and just, like what Obi-Wan Kenobi says, and it's so simple. You must do what you feel is right, of course. Has it changed me at all? No, I think it's like, yes, of course. I think it's just, I look for it in Star Wars. I feel disappointed in Star Wars when it plays safe, or when I feel like I'm being pandered to as a fan. And I know a lot of people throw around, fan service or whatever, but I don't really get too uptight about that stuff, really. But if I want them to, I want the stories more. And this is, again, going back to whatever, but I hope the stories in the future continue to be more all over the place and go in strange new directions and tell different kinds of stories about different kinds of people. Because I think that is so very part of Star Wars. It's the heart of Star Wars. It's...
Yep.
I don't know. Am I making any sense?
I know, 100%. Like I'm excited about where it's going. I feel I've enjoyed what we've gotten so far from the High Republic. It's cool. There are parts that I'm like, okay, this is what I was anticipating. This is kind of what we always thought it was, but I feel like something is still coming that we don't know that's coming. It's exciting. The Mandalorian really changed the game for me, and really in season 2. Like, I liked The Mandalorian when I first saw it. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. It's fun. And I would say by summertime, it had been out for a while. And because it's great Star Wars, little things, I was like, oh, like all this subtlety in there just started popping its little head up, and I was like, oh, this is so good. And season 2 of The Mandalorian, I think, was so incredibly stellar. Like, everything was so good. It makes me really, really, really excited. When I got mad at Luke, I was so happy, because I was like, they are not afraid. Like, they could have so easily not gone there after everything, but they're not. I'm like, oh my God, these people just doubled down on cranky Luke. And now we're going to see how he got there. Like, oh my God, are we going to get him a lot? I don't know. Doubtful.
Yeah.
But we're going to get more of them.
Right.
We're going to get something. Something has to happen now. And, it started, and then my mind started going, And I am so incredibly excited for Bad Batch.
Right.
Which is so funny because those were the 4 episodes I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, mostly because I wanted Ahsoka.
Right.
And then we finally get Ahsoka. And then the Martez sisters stole the show. And I'm like, oh my God, when am I going to and Ahsoka's like my number one. Like that is my number one character. And then that episode came, and ignoring all the hoopla that's surrounding that, but the character showed up, and and then again, I'm like, props, because that was not the Ahsoka any of us anticipated. And I understand. I think for me, what I read into it, I'm all about. But I was like, but there we go. It's brave.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I am here for it. I am here because Ahsoka, I very much believe she has the potential to be the future of Star Wars. And I think she is an incredibly important character. She changed so much of Star Wars in between Clone Wars and Rebels. She just changed the game. And I think to me, she's this perfect bridge because she's been everywhere. And she's got enough of a following that she, to me, I hope is the torch that carries Star Wars forward. And through that character, all of us can start to see things differently, because I think Luke is too precious in a way that we can't do that necessarily with him. And Ahsoka's precious to a lot of people, but she's not precious to everyone.
Yeah.
And I think this is she's just that right character, because I think she's new enough to new people to go, oh, so she can kind of change them easier. And I think she's earned our trust to grow with her and trust her in this new direction that I hope they start to go, if that makes sense.
Totally. And I think I'm excited for her show. And I think it happened with her appearance on The Mandalorian, where it gives people another reason to check out the Clone Wars and check out Rebels. And okay, this character seems interesting. And that was like the first like Jedi we had seen in The Mandalorian, and it was exciting. And it's a bridge to all this other Star Wars that's out there. And yeah, like you said, it kind of is amazing, Ahsoka's story, how she has been through it all. She has seen it all. And who would have ever guessed? Well, and that was one, like we were saying, like, have you ever been disappointed with the Star Wars movie too? The Clone Wars movie.
Yeah.
I went to a midnight of that. And I remember driving home and being like, I don't know. I don't know. It was the weirdest feeling, because even after Revenge of the Sith, I was like pumped up, but I was like, oh, I don't feel the same way I did after other ones. And this is, why do I feel this way? But it was still like, it was great. But yeah, Clone Wars movie, I was just like, I don't know. Yeah,
I went to a midnight thing too. They don't seem to do that anymore, but I brought Tom. And I was like, I was so stoked, because I'm like, oh my God. At that, I'm like, I know I will spend the rest of my life with this person. I never thought I was going to be able to like share a new Star Wars with him. Like, oh my God, this is new Star Wars. Right. And I was here for it. And I, thank God I was not on the internet, or I didn't know about message boards. I didn't know about any of those things, because I loved Ahsoka. The second she hopped down that ramp and the Sky Guys and the R2s came out, I'm like, ooh, I like the sassy girl. Like, I love it. But I felt like I knew really quick what they were doing.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, I'm here for this. Yeah. And thank God that I didn't have to live through how she was treated at the beginning, because I think it would have been hard for me, because I really, really liked that character. And then to know what that character would give me 5 years later in that time with The Wrong Jedi, that literally I have never, ever, ever been the same person since that episode aired. Like, it literally changed my life, and it knocked down so much stuff that that needed knocking down. I've said it billions of times on here, but so I love that character. But yeah, I really hope she can be the thing to take it forward. So I'm stoked to see what that character is going to do in her own show. I'm worried because she's my favorite, and I'm like, I I trust in all things Dave Filoni, so I'm sure the show will be great. But I like her so much as a guide that I hope it's her show, but there's this other really big band of people or something. You know, I don't know. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. The book's great, so I'm sure it'll be great. But we'll see. We'll see. What are you most looking forward to in the future?
Oh, you know, it's like my first obvious answer is probably the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I think that's the show that, like, the night before it comes out, I'm just going to be, I don't know. I'm always jealous of the people in California that can watch it, like, new stuff at midnight, you know, and for us it's 3 a.m. And there were times with Mandalorian, I was like, well, no, like, okay, I'm not going to do it. Obi-Wan, I may wait up until 3 a.m. for it to hit Disney Plus. But, like, I say that, but then I also think that things like The Acolyte or, you know, the ILM animated droid movie, they gave us so much stuff that it's easy to overlook some of the little things that were buried in there. Yep. And I really kind of think, like, realistically, some of the weirder little stuff may kind of take us by surprise. And yeah, like, I think The Acolyte, you know, there was a Lando show, and it's like, that'll be cool. Of course. Yeah. That makes sense. If Donald Glover is in it, that'll be super cool. You know, and Andor, that's going to be great. No question.
Yep.
But something like The Acolyte is kind of, it's not the character show. And it's like, this could get really interesting. This could be some really fascinating storytelling. So there's things like that it's kind of like things we don't know what to expect. But who knows? Kenobi could be like that too, because it's the thing with Kenobi where it's like, yes, of course we all want an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, but it's like, well, what is it going to be about? Him sitting in a hut?
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
So what is he going to do? And then when there's Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader, which they keep saying, it's like, okay, well, what in the world does that mean? Because you're not going to have Hayden Christensen just to put the helmet on him. So it's like, well, what in the world? What is going on in this show?
Yeah, I'm really, really, really excited. There's an opportunity to play into the. You know, so what I told you was true from a certain point of view. We can, like, start to, like, explain that a little more for those that feel that it needs explaining. But like, that's really cool. Like, I'm excited to have this idea of, because now we know from their prequels that and Clone Wars that Qui-Gon was, you know, learned how to do this. He was going to teach it. You know, he taught it to Yoda. Yoda taught it to Obi-Wan. Well, who taught it to Hayden to Anakin, who showed up? So is there some sort of weird, like, connection that they're, you know, the last I saw you, you know, you were the master and I was but the learner or whatever. Like, was there some sort of, like, force timing type? Are we going to get some sort of weird Rey and Kylo fight type? You know, I don't know. Like, I'm so excited for that and the mental head games that still that can very much go on there still, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't believe how excited I am for Bad Batch, but I just think what they could do with identity and I go back to, and I forget the name of the episode, but, you know, it was the first episode aired after the movie had started. But when Yoda looks at all the clones, you know, and he's like, I see you doing this and I see you that. And, like, this struggle that they have all had. And now we have the Bad Batch who they don't share that. It didn't seem, but Echo's there.
Right.
And now Echo was broken from that mold. And I think, and knowing how this new Star Wars is challenging us with what came before and what it means to be a Jedi or means to be this, there's so much there for that. And to see how the Empire is changing everything, and just I'm just so excited. Like when that trailer came out, I was like, oh. And you just speaking of Boba Fett, like just some of the things they did there, like it's all right there. And I'm like, oh, I am really, really, really excited.
Well, it's kind of like that what I was saying too, because it's very unknown. Mm-hmm. We have no idea where this show or this season of Bad Batch is going to go, what these stories are going to be like. It's kind of a blank slate, which is really kind of fascinating. And it's not focused on, again, like an Obi-Wan Kenobi or Orlando, where it could go anywhere. Mm-hmm. And it's a fascinating period of time of the first, probably years, however long the show takes place, of the Empire. And it's that old question of, well, what does happen to these clones? Mm-hmm. And what does it mean to still be a clone trooper in this new Empire?
Yep. Oh, God, so good.
And and you like with Fennec being there, and kind of the rise of bounty hunters and surviving in that world.
Yep.
Because I remember we were talking about that after the finale of Clone Wars, where it was like, so did the Bad Batch have the chip? Mm-hmm. And like it was like, well, what happened to those guys? And it doesn't, from what it seems like, it doesn't look like they do, that they go, that they flip them. Right. And how do they exist, in this world? Like, I don't know, just, it's going to be, and I saw someone say this on Twitter, and it's really true, that like, people thought that the sequel trilogy was just going to be nostalgia cashing in, and people thought the Mandalorian was just going to be the badass adventures of a badass Mandalorian bounty hunter. Mm-hmm. And it's like we were saying before, that the George Lucas thing of not giving you what you expect, but giving you what you need. And I don't think the Bad Batch is exactly going to be what people expect. I'm almost counting on it being a very surprising show and having more going on possibly than people are giving it credit for.
Yep.
Or people are anticipating, maybe is the word.
Yeah. I mean, The Mandalorian, I had not anticipated. To me, he's queer, and I will always see him that way. Like, I can't not see him that way anymore.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And then to make him a foster dad and actually have, like, we've only ever seen parents at the loss of their children.
Right.
We've never seen them at the arrival of a child. And I'm like, it just speaks to me so much. And it was the first time for me that Star Wars like spoke almost as an adult, spoke right to me without needing to look for it. And I was not anticipating that, because again, I was like, okay, it's Mandalorians are cool. There's some cool stuff there. Like, okay, it'll be fun. Yeah. But it was, again, so much more than all of that. All of that. They took the Mandalorians and flipped them on their heads. The minute Bo-Katan's like, oh, you're one of those, I was like, oh, this is whole new layers. There we go. Boom. On one line, and then we never touched it again because we'll pick it up later. So good.
Right.
So good. All right. So final question for the evening.
Okay.
And it goes well with this. So I've been doing this with everyone I've had on so far this year, because 2020 was awful for so many of us. 2021's turning out to be hopefully not part 2. Hopefully it's just like coming out, right? We in the Berry House every day at dinner, the 5 of us sit and have dinner at the table every single night. And before we eat, we do our berry shares. So our saying is, we are berries, we support each other, we have fun, and today I'm grateful for. So we all go around. So here on Pink Milk, we are going to start with our mantra for the year, for 2021. We are Star Wars fans, we support each other, we have fun, and I am grateful for. So this is our little way of trying to like spread the positivity and remember that we are all Star Wars fans. Yes. And we can all have fun. So I'm Jason. I'm a Star Wars fan. We're Star Wars fans. We support each other. We have fun, and I'm grateful for. So say the mantra, and then there we go.
I am Jason. Let's see if I remembered it. I am Jason. We are all Star Wars fans. I am a Star Wars fan. We are all Star Wars fans. We support each other, and we like to have fun. Did I get it?
Yep. Boom.
Okay.
I'd love to watch everyone go. Ah!
I didn't even write it down.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No.
Oh,
And
I love
what are you
that.
grateful? What are you
That's
grateful
wonderful.
for? What are you grateful for?
What am I
today?
grateful for? Oh, today, health, family, the feeling that things are getting better. What is that?
Optimism.
What's the optimism? Yes, a feeling of optimism that I hope people have. And yeah, and I don't know. Right now, this conversation, because this has been just wonderful.
Thank you.
This
Thank
has been just perfect, and just so much fun. So yeah, we had fun. We got deep, and it was like Star Wars. It was just a lot of fun, and brought warm feelings to my heart. As someone very wise once said.
One of the greatest lines of any Star Wars. Oh my God.
Yes.
Puddle. Puddle when I hear that. It's so good. Oh God, I love Yoda. Yeah. So thank you very, very much for this. I appreciate it. We ran over what I thought we were going to, so I appreciate your time very, very much. It's the one thing that is the most important thing anyone can ever give one another. So please know that I am honestly very, very grateful for your time. And this has been great. It's so wonderful to know you're just as nice IRL as you are on your podcast. So,
well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Where can people find you, and where can people listen to your show? I'm sure you do already.
Well, no, Blast Points, it's all over the place. The Apple and Spotify, and we have our website, blastpointspodcast.com, where you can search back episodes, and we're on all the stuff on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. If you just type in Blast Points, we'll come right up.
I love it.
And,
very, very good. Well, thank you very, very much, my friend, and have a wonderful evening. Until next time, I will see you later.
Just thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
And I'm back. And oh my goodness, that was such a great conversation. In full transparency, that was last night. This is today, a little later in the afternoon. And I'm still pondering some of those conversations that you just heard with Jason and myself. And I'm just so incredibly excited. If there's anything that I've learned from this podcasting journey that I've been on for the last year and a half, is the connections to people that I've been able to make that I wouldn't have made otherwise. I've listened to Blast Points for a long time, so I felt, as we mentioned, I felt like I knew them, which is weird because we don't know each other, but it's always so wonderful when people are just as genuine as you are hoping they are. And what I loved about this conversation that I had last night was we got to really nerd out about Star Wars, and I was talking to another human, and it was a human-to-human conversation. Yes, it's about Star Wars, but it was about the things underneath that, and I am just so incredibly excited. That was really, really, really wonderful. And what a great start to 2021. Here we are. We are pushing towards 25% of the way through, and look how great this has been. So thank you, Jason. Thank you for your time. We went over what I thought we would, but he was super gracious, and I'm just so excited. I'm excited for some of the guests I have lined up for the rest of March, and I think there's some really amazing conversation going to come later on. And yeah, I love what Jason said. I'm hopeful that 2021 is going to be great. We're on the way to something. My family had a devastating loss at the beginning of this year, and that's going to be very, very, very hard for all of us to overcome. If we ever do, I don't think we will, but we will learn how to move anyways. But I'm going to take this conversation and really try to focus on the good that's coming my way. That's truthfully what my mother-in-law would want. And I know Tom will get there too. So he will be back soon. I know he is missed. I miss him. I miss sitting here at this table and looking into those beautiful Irish green eyes that he has. And I love him very much. And I know a lot of you do too, because he's wonderful. So anyways, blah, 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 heart, 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 love, love, love. Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for opening my eyes to seeing things differently. Thank you for giving me a different way to communicate. It was so much fun. It was so great. Don't forget, if you haven't done it yet, head on over to Apple Podcasts, hit pause, wait till the music's done, whatever you need to do. But please leave us a review. It really does help get our show out there more, and we need more queer voices. So get our show out there. Go plug some other queer-led Star Wars podcasts. And don't forget to visit us on YouTube. And please, we're nerds. A lot of us nerds stay up late. Come hang out with us on YouTube. Pink Milk Podcast. Like, subscribe, do all those things. Emma and Mark are great. We just talked Star Wars Rebels last week. This week coming up, we are going to hang out with Joe from Twitch, and it's going to get steamy, I'm sure, because it's Joe. And if you follow Joe Organa or just say no to Joe, or I forget what his Twitter name is right now. Look at that. What a great host. What a great host. Anyways, until next week, don't forget you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Serving Pink Milk. Head over to our website, servingpinkmilk.com, to catch up on all of the things there. And until next time, thank you very much, and drink up. Bye.